you're looking for a way to make 2024 your very best, then come aboard, because we are going to introduce you to 8 different strategies that can help you transform your business. We're going to introduce you to number 1, focus, blah, blah, blah versus output. Number 2, what is the next thing? 3, that is scalable. 4, be more human. 5, master as a leader. 6, need to. 7, backups and what else? And 8, diversify and protect your, and we'll share with you exactly how to do that. Now, you might be wondering, why am I holding this piece of paper? Well, here's the best part. Lean in just a little bit. Today is the best day to be able to pull out a fresh canvas, and you get the choice in this moment. What do you want to paint? What kind of business do you want to create? It's a blank canvas. What kind of life? What kind of health? What kind of fitness? What kind of relationships? It's a blank canvas. Do you want to make it dull and boring and stagnant, or do you want to get the colors out and be creative? Do you want to create something magnificent? If you do, you are going to love what we're going to share here as we reveal to you the 8 key strategies for quantum growth in 2024. Now, this picture that is up, so this works in relationships, this works in health, this works in fitness, this works in all kinds of things. So the guy on the left is this guy right here. And that was, 80 plus pounds ago. And the guy on the right, which is the guy you see today, is lean, fit, healthy, and a whole bunch of things. These 8 steps work for this as it will for your business. So stick around, because in this segment, we're going to talk about what we've learned, the lessons in working with over 5,000 clients over the years. And just this year alone, with a handful of clients in our business model that we work with using direct response branding strategies, our clients have grown exponentially. So there's a lot of lessons that we've taken. Would you like those? Well, you're going to get those. So stick around. You'll understand what's important and what's most important for these things to happen. Now, who's this for? This is for founders and CEOs who really want to make this your best year, despite turbulent times, things going on in the world, and a whole lot more. We did a survey recently of hundreds and hundreds of founders and CEOs, maybe like you. And we found that the top thing that most people are concerned about rolling into this next year are growth, somewhere in a range of 10x or more, how to get more sales, and how to scale effectively. So we're going to break those down. Now, the problem that we have today is we're all facing all kinds of stuff, aren't we? We'll just call it stuff, from distractions to shiny objects to uncertainty to volatility, ambiguity, turbulence, keeping up with everything, the conflicting info, complexity, and a whole lot more, right? It can feel almost overwhelming, can it? If you've been there, welcome to the club. Damaging confession. We all face it. We all deal with it. So why is this important for you? We've got the election year coming up. We've got uncertainty and turbulence in the economy. We've also got the inflation stuff going on. Plus, on top of that, if that weren't enough, there's the battle of control of these different companies, especially in business. Companies like Apple and Google and Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, TikTok, and a whole lot more that are ultimately gaming the game of our business, especially small business. So again, we're going to show you how to insulate yourself and protect yourself. The bigger problem or opportunity that exists for some is leveraging AI, but most people are going about it the wrong way. And the beauty of new things that come into our world, in many cases, it's a mirror test, isn't it? A mirror test. One way to look at the mirror is like what happens when new programs and services get introduced and people scramble and get off the mark of their main thing being their main thing. I've been there. I've been there too many times, especially in my first decade of 30 years of business. It's crazy to think about like how easy it is to get off the rails, to go chase shiny objects and so on. And if you've been there, it's okay. Again, you've got an opportunity to pull out this canvas and paint a great business, paint a great life, paint great relationships, paint a great business. And we're going to show you how to be able to do that. Another example, like if you've played around with AI stuff at all, right? Have you ever typed something into ChatGPT and you entered the info in and then it spit out some bad info? And maybe you've done that a few times and what have you, and then what happens? You're like, oh, this isn't as all as it was cracked up to be. And then we go back to probably the things that matter most, what's most important versus important. So, the end of the day, that input quality gets output quality, right? In health and business and ChatGPT, it's a great mirror test. Garbage in gives us what back? Garbage out. I'm going to put the, friendly way of saying it, input quality equals the output quality. Garbage in, garbage out. Input quality, output quality. So let's make sure that you're painting the best quality you can be. Because it's not whether we have problems or challenges, and most of us, if you're watching this right now, are probably dealing with versions of champagne problems compared to other third world countries and things going on with a lot of people. So it's how we think about the problems that come our way, right? Like we all have adversity, in our family, my mom passing away, my dad with, cancer, I've talked about in other segments, and, having over 130, 40 treatments with chemo and radiation. It takes its toll emotionally and mentally, physically, socially, our family, our unity, etc. So we have to really focus on the thinking behind the thinking. Right? A great thing to ask your team, like if they bring you something, a project, and it isn't up to snuff or your standard, you might go to them instead of jumping in and trying to solve it is, hey, tell me a little bit more about the thinking. Can you clarify this? I want to understand it. And we believe, and what we've seen in the last year, that it's going to continue to require new elevated thinking, new upgraded thinking, new ways of being able to think related to the shift in thinking to these 8 things. So let's talk about these 8 strategies. Number 1 is focus, right? I encourage you, and you probably want to write this down, is focus on outcomes versus outputs, right? What does that mean? Most of us in a small business world are not compensated based on pushing paper clips around. We're compensated based on the value we deliver to the end user. It sounds so simple, but focus on the outcomes. We call it BOTE, B-O-T-E, breakthrough outcomes, transformation, and experience. Separately, mastery in anything comes from, this great quote from Bruce Lee: I fear not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks once. However, I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. What are the kicks that you've practiced 10,000 times, right? What are the kicks that you've practiced 10,000 times? So focus. What is your focus? Number 2, clarity. Clarity is power. And here's a great centering exercise to be able to do. 4 key questions that you can ask right now. You can ask each week. You can ask your team. You can ask each month. You can ask each quarter. Ask each year as you go to evaluate your painting. What are you painting? What are you proud of? What are the 3 to 5 things that you're most proud of in the last whatever day, week, month, quarter, year, etc. It's a great centering tool because sometimes, I don't know about you, you can get so busy, especially if you're a high performance entrepreneur, founder, and CEO. It's easy to just keep going and running hard, and then it's hard to sometimes stop and reflect, isn't it? I've been there. I can be my own worst critic. How about you? So a great thing to do is center and go, what are the top 3 to 5 things, or even go bigger, 10 things, 15 things. There's probably so much. Bill Gates is famous for a quote: most people underestimate what they can do in a year, overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can get done in 10 years. And so it is. What are you most proud of? The top 3 to 5 things this quarter, this year. Next, what are the lessons you learned this year? What are the things that worked for you? What are the lessons from some of your mistakes? Instead of feeling guilt or feeling a little bit shameful or like you're different, we've all made mistakes. Glory goes to those who actually make mistakes and get through them. That's the truth in all walks of life, in all areas, relationships, in fitness, in health, in business, and a whole lot more. Right? So what are the lessons you've learned? And get clear on those. And then what are the top 3 to 5 focuses you've got for this year? And I would go 2 categories. One is personal and one is business, right? And then number 4 is who and what skills or capabilities do you need to acquire to get those things? And then I'm going to give you this simple tip if you want to fast track this here in just a moment. So number 1 is focus on outcomes, breakthrough outcome, transformation, experience. Number 2, clarity. This simple 4-question formula, you can journal, you can write about it, you can think about it. Ideally, you write it. Brings so much focus and clarity, and it's so simple. And some people will set it aside because it's too simple. I encourage you to take heedance to it and put it in place. Number 3, simplicity is scalable, isn't it? Simplicity is scalable. I mean, let's face it, with all the stuff going on that we're hit with today more than ever, wouldn't it be great to just simplify? And the great businesses in the future are going to be those that simplify things for their clients, simplify experiences, simplify solutions, right? And there's all kinds of, some would talk about the triangle. We won't go into that right now, but here's the thing, simplicity. As you think about your relationships, health, fitness, business, whatever, and we go to that 4th question, what skills do you need? Well, you either have the skills or you don't. And then you have to assess, do I do it on my own or do I get a pro to help me solve these things? And it's that simple. Dan Sullivan wrote a book called Who, Not How. Who, Not How. And the fact is that you can go get a pro that can save you 10,000 hours of learning plus speed it up for you. Whatever it is in fitness and health. Like, I didn't get to go from that Jabba the Hutt looking character to this person today, lean, fit, and healthy, because I did it on my own. I went and found a who. And by the way, if you're looking for someone like that to help, just send us a private message. We can introduce you to some of our resources for any of this stuff if you have questions, right? And here's a great quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes. Oliver Wendell Holmes says, lean in real quick. He says, and I love this quote. I hope you do too, because think about how you can apply it. I wouldn't give a fig to be on the other side of complexity, but I'd give my life to be on this side of simplicity. And what would it be worth for you, number 1, to focus on more outcomes, breakthrough outcomes, transformation experience. 2, have clarity. Clarity is king, clarity is power, and really be clear on what it is, where you've been, where you want to go. Number 3 is to simplify by finding the who, right? Simplify it, shorten it. Number 4, be more human. As we continue to grow the next several years, we believe, we've witnessed, we see the data with millions of dollars a month in business between the different clients we work with, that adding in the human elements, which we'll talk about how you can do that in simple ways, adding in the human elements is helping create exponential impact, exponential growth. And if that's what you want, then I encourage you, be more human, but don't be like a lot of people who are automating themselves right out of business. I've been talking about this for over 10 years. Don't automate yourself out of business. Humanize your experience. Find a way to humanize it where you can, and use some of the tech tools and automation to do it, but focus on being human. Be more human as we go into 2024. We call this the HOP approach, as a framework. HOP. Humanize it, optimize it, personalize the experience. How do we do that? And if you start there, begin with that end in mind and work backwards in whatever you do, whatever businesses you're in, whatever services. I mean, we've been able to do this with over 180 industries in over 13 countries. So it'll work for you like it has for a lot of people. Number 5, master communication. Again, that whole input quality, output quality. Even with something as simple as ChatGPT, it's our assessment based on what we've seen with, again, the body of work and what we do and what we don't do, and working with clients and also seeing the data behind this stuff, is if you master communication with it, it will spit out very good, high quality stuff. And it's iterations of communication. And all of these things start to compound in whatever thing you're looking to accomplish, right? So focus on mastering communication, not only with things like tech, but also with your team, with your partners, with your clients, and a whole lot more. Messaging matters. What's it costing you if your message isn't connecting with your audience? What's it costing you if you're constantly misunderstood? What's it costing you if you're the world's best kept secret because your message isn't clear? That's communication, call it from a business point of view, but also like relationships with your spouse, with your kids, with ChatGPT, whatever you want to look at. Mastering communication is key. So put a focus on that. So we've covered 5 of these strategies so far. And like, if you were able to dial these in and you were able to get real clarity and go from a blank canvas and focus on those 5 and paint your future with focusing on outcomes versus the output. If you were, focused on clarity and getting real clarity on where you've been, what you've accomplished, where you're going, and then found a way to simplify things by the who, and became more human and mastered communication, what would that mean for you? What did it do for you? how would it impact what you're doing every day? How would it impact your clients? How would it impact, who you're called to serve at a bigger level? Well, guess what? Let's now move this into some business strategies as well. But before we do that, let's talk about one of the critical factors, identity. And this is a question to write down. Who do you need to become? Who do you need to become to be able to get to those next levels? Like if you're at a $5 million business right now, like many of our clients, and you want to get to 10 million, who do you need to become to be able to get to that level? Mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, emotionally, relationship-wise, financially, etc. Right? Who do you need to become? So let's talk about it in some other frameworks. I first learned this from Mark Victor Hansen. You've got to be the person. Who do you have to be to then do it, take action, right? That action usually will transfer from the mind and the heart and the body, right? Of who you've got to be. Be, do, action, have. And then you get the outcome, the result, etc. So be, do, have. It's an inside-out proposition. How you see yourself ultimately determines your destiny and bigger future. How you see yourself. Again, today's the best day. I've been fortunate enough to coach high school football as well as kids for several years. Today's the best day to get the canvas out and paint your life. You decide what you want. You get to write a new story. So how you see yourself determines your destiny and bigger future. What do you want? How do you want that to look? Who do you want to be? Because for example, if you look at Hollywood, in Hollywood, if you look at their hierarchy, there's some great people that are great actors and actresses. They get paid well, but there are also directors that they never act, they just direct, or they do both. Then you've got producers who usually are, managing a handful of projects at a given time. And then you've got the studio who has essentially 4, 5, 6 different movies rolling all the time, right? Like, how can you apply that to your business? Like, what if you started taking the focus of becoming the studio? You become the studio and you start building movies, right? Let's flip it a different way into traditional business. So who do you need to become? You've probably heard this 1,000 times if you've heard it once. Famous originally from original mentor Michael Gerber said, most people spend their years building businesses where they're the technician in their business. And what's it costing most people? And so part of it starts with the thinking behind that thinking, and 2 is understanding how to be able to go about that, right? So who do you need to become to elevate from, say, if you're at a technician role, or you're at the manager role, or you're at the CEO role, to become the chairman and ultimately even become an investor mindset, right? Like a Warren Buffett. He built these things, he built through this process, and you can too. If you choose to, again, you can get the canvas out. And I encourage you, paint your life. What would it be like if you were the chairman of your business? How would you set things up? What would have to happen? What types of tools would you need? Those 4 questions to be able to live in that role. So identity can play a big thing. Going back to the simplicity, who do you need to become to be able to get to that next level of your business and your life? And a lot of times this will feed, I don't know about you, but I have that voice sometimes, that voice of doubt, like that little devil over here. What if it doesn't work? What if you can't make this happen? What if you run that thing and it doesn't, pull results? And then you've got to look at, that can be an old story, and you have to be clear on what that old story is in order to get to the new story, the transformation, right? And again, this applies in business and health and relationships, mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, emotionally, and financially, for all of us. So let's keep going, shall we? Now, by the way, are you learning a lot? If you have questions about any of this and how it applies, feel free to reach out to us. I think our team put a note down below where you can reach us. But let's apply this to your business, right? So we want to talk about some key pillars to really help you level up in 2024. What happens, for example, because we have to be real about threats. Here's something, so many people go, I'm a positive thinker, and that's great. But we also got to understand what's real too. We have to evaluate our, capabilities and talents and abilities and superpowers, as well as the threats in our world. And I've seen these 3 over the last 20 years or longer impact not only my businesses when I wasn't aware of them, but also others. I want to help you avoid those too, right? And if you've ever had a situation where your merchant account got jammed up, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I can assure you that almost everybody, oh, that won't happen to me. For all of these, and there's more than these, but these are three really powerful ones to protect yourself, and it's pretty simple to be able to do. So one is, what happens if your merchant account or your list, like whatever platform you're using, says you're non-compliant, and they just come in one day and wipe your list. Or number three, your ad accounts in different platforms. What if they just shut those down? How does that impact you? What is it costing you? Don't risk it. Set up backups, which leads us to step number 7, backups with your merchant, with your CRM and list, your ad accounts, and a whole lot more. These are 3, and if you want to get more into some of the key things to look at, that leads to step 8, diversify. Essentially, if you think of your business or your life like you're building a castle, and you start off with a small castle, and it might be the size of a birdhouse castle for birds, and then it might grow to a nice size house, and then it becomes a mansion, and then it becomes a castle, right? So whatever stage you're at is whatever stage you're at. It doesn't matter. You're going to build it, and you can build wings on top on it if you're looking to grow. You would be here if you wouldn't. So you think of this as your house, as your castle. And then what do is you put a moat around it. You put a moat around it to protect it from threats like we're talking about. So how do we do that from a business point of view? We've discovered there's 5 critical steps. We won't spend a lot of time on these, but reviewing over 4,000 companies, we've learned that the most successful companies have all 5 of these in place. They may not have consciously known it, but these are the 5 critical pillars. Number 1, they had a vision and growth plan. Number 2, they have connection campaigns that are always building trust and respect in the marketplace. And there's ways to do this at different points in the journey. Number 3, they have lead machines bringing them leads every single day. They have education-based conversion events. At least the long-term companies do. Short-term companies get away with hard pressure selling. Long-term companies have an education-based conversion event model. And again, if you have questions on any of these, because we're going guided quick, we can break this down for your company. Number 5 is go deep or optimize. Go deep on the things that are working. Now, how do we build a moat? One of the biggest threats that you face or I face is relying on one platform. And we see this so often as well. This is another deep threat, but it's also a big opportunity for you and your business to grow exponentially by just doing some simple things, right? A lot of people get started and they're using platforms like the one we're on right now, which I've highlighted here. And then they've heard about all these other ones, but it's more like the Loch Ness Monster. They've heard about it, they just haven't seen it for themselves in reality. So the key is diversifying into other places like Google pay-per-click. That's one piece. Or what's called Google Search. Then there's Google Display, which is kind of like remarketing the business, where it feels like you're being, everywhere. Or some people call this omnipresent, leveraging using the phone, right? Using the phone to follow up with people. Again, humanize the experience. Using things like LinkedIn, and there's 2 parts of using LinkedIn, an organic version and a paid ads version. Then there's YouTube videos. Oh, by the way, most of these, Google, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you can literally run campaigns, even Twitter, which should be added here, Twitter. You can run these campaigns for as like $1 to $5 a day and have so much more impact than you've been led to believe if you know how to do it. And it also helps you spread your risk, almost like a mutual fund in a good way, right? And get presence. So beyond these couple tech things, you've got text messaging you can use. Again, humanize, optimize, personalize. A newsletter, physical newsletter monthly or quarterly or a few times a year, or digitally, weekly or a couple times a week. Content and SEO, right? How do you create an adventure and an experience for your clients in your content? That's the magic. And also so that Google and the other search engines like it. Partners, going deep with partners. Leveraging partners who can help where you're non-competitive, you become either strategic partners and you can help each other, as well as co-opetition, because there's more than enough to go around, right? Email monthly or weekly or even a few times a week, right? On top of that is new tech, and then also events. Apple's arguably one of the biggest companies in the world. And isn't it interesting that 1 to 2 times a year they do big mega events to launch their products every year, and they have for decades? How about you? We had someone in the service business, Kathy and Greg, they hosted an event in Minnesota for their service business, and they had like 350 people show up from their local town, little local service business. Not a lot of ads. They did a little bit of radio. They did some stuff with their internal list. That was the main focus of a couple of these things, diversifying. But they got an event. And think about the momentum, like, and then what happens? What if they do that type of thing like once a quarter, or collapse it down to come up with mini events that support? You know, if you think of the NFL, one of the largest, fastest growing businesses in the world, they're an event model that drives behavior, that drives conversion, that drives, you know, people casually coming in and becoming clients for life. What if you could apply these same things? These pieces allow you to diversify, and as little as $1 to $5 a day can help start getting you presence, get you leads, get you appointments, get you clients every single day done correctly. So we've covered a lot here. Just to recap everything we've covered: 8 strategies for quantum growth. Focus on the outcome. In other words, the boat. Breakthrough outcome transformation experience versus just the work or output happening. Clarity is king. Clarity is power. You know, we talked about 4 questions, right? Simplicity is scalable. Now, you may have the skills and the superpowers, but if not, it's doing it yourself versus finding a pro. Which one gets you there faster? You decide what's best for you. Number 4, be more human. Number 5, master communication as a leader. Number 6 is identity. Look at that identity. Where you are this moment, in this moment, may be great, but could it be even better? And today is the best day to paint your life, to paint your business, to paint a picture of what it could be and what it would mean. Next are making sure to protect yourself from threats, also called opportunities or challenges or issues, and have contingencies built in. And on top of diversifying and showing you a blueprint to that, because here's the deal: if you're not diversified, what's it costing? I was talking to somebody yesterday at the time we're doing this, and she was telling me that, you know, they primarily rely on 2 main sources of leads for their business, and they do great. They're a 7-figure and then some business and profitable. But what would happen if they added more of these to protect their business, even these small $5, $10 a day kind of campaigns? Their business would double or triple because of the way it's like a tide that can lift the boat, done correctly, right? And you can do the same thing. Diversify your business. And so this works personally, and you can see the transformation here from going from Jabba the Hutt to this lean fellow right here that you see right now. It works in business by giving you an infrastructure that's more of a system for growing a business versus a tactic that's a one-trick pony that if an algorithm change, you're done. And if you've ever had that happen, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, no big deal. And hopefully you won't be, oh, that'll never happen to me. Well, I imagine most people say that same type of thing. So when you put these in place, all 8 strategies, how will it impact you? How will it impact you to have a greater contribution in the world, to get to more clients directly, and as importantly, build a ripple effect of transcendence and transformation in your world? And as crazy as that might even sound, what is that big focus you've got, right? So I challenge you, take action with what we've shared. Number 1, really focus on the outcomes. Number 2, clarity, those 4 questions. Number 3, simplicity, either you or the who that can help you simplify for scalability. Number 4, be more human. Number 5, if we go back to number 5, is, I think I mixed these up, I got out of order. So number 5 is master communication. Number 6, identify who you need to become. Number 7, build your backups and contingencies to protect your moat, protect your castle and get the moat around it. And lastly, diversify your business. And all of that being said, now is a great time to paint your new canvas. This canvas that I'm holding up represents you today. And it could be amazing, and it could be full color, and it could be vibrant, and it could be, you know, a Jackson Pollock, and, you know, one of the most incredible things in the world. And of course, it's a metaphor, but what if you could make it even better? What if you could 10x it, 20x it, 50x it, 100x it? How would it shift your life? And along with that, I want to do a little tribute to you because it's a special time of year. And so I'd written this poem about 10 years ago or so. It's called The CEO and Founder's Anthem. You are the creator, the explorer, the adventurer, the dreamer, the innovator, the geek, the grunt, the achiever, the black sheep, the pioneer at heart. You are a servant leader, a warrior, a conqueror, the rugged individualist, the cowboy, the patriot, the protector, the trailblazer, the thrill seeker, the bull in the china shop. You are a steward of life, liberty, and the pursuit of progress and innovation. You build, grow, and stretch the status quo. You live to make a difference, add value, and contribute. You are the founder, CEO, creator, and champion. And today, I'm raising my glass to you. Make it a great year. If you have questions, hit us up. That's it for now. Happy New Year. And hopefully these beads didn't distract you too much. This isn't my Deion Sanders bling chain set, but nonetheless, make it a great year. Make it a great day. Go paint something amazing. Go do something amazing. Now is your time. We're at one of the most exciting times in human history. So celebrate, and now let's go. Let's go, baby. All right, that's it for now. See you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of growthtofreedom.com. Are you struggling to get a steady flow of new clients every day? Or maybe hit a plateau or hit a wall in growing your business? Well, let's help you solve this problem today. Let's review your business and have a conversation. You can do that for free today at breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. In addition, if you're looking for a simple way to implement some of what we've been talking about in today's episode, then I want to encourage you to get our free small business toolkit. You can get that at activate.breakthrough3x.com. That's activate.breakthrough3x.com. If you'd like access to the special resources and all the show notes for this special episode, make sure to visit growthtofreedom.com.
Hey, it's Dan Kuschell. Click the buttons over here on the left. You can watch these other couple videos, as well as make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can get access to the latest insights, strategies, and wisdom, giving you more clarity, confidence, and direction for exponential business growth. Hit the button now.